Dzień dobry, witam bardzo serdecznie. W kolejnym epizodzie zagrajmy w Disco Elysium. Witam. O zdróweczko was, pytam. Cześć. Przeszukajmy dalej. Co my tutaj mamy? Żebym ja tam mógł wejść. Kurde. Jakieś schody, drabina, cokolwiek. Tu już patrzyliśmy wszystko, tak mi się wydaje przynajmniej. No myślałem, że tam więcej zobaczymy.
Just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers, the iconography of communism, in other words.
Przyjrzyj się dokładniej.
The star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century and quickly adopted by Messier and the communards during the revolution. Even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to evoke hope, disappointment and fear in equal measure.
Czemu gwiazda jest do góry nogami?
To symbolize the toppling of the old order. Also, some social democrats were already using it.
O co chodzi z tym porożem?
The wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about building a society that could exist in accord with the natural world and at the same time above it.
Czemu akurat biel?
Because white is the color of peace.
Co we mnie budzi ten widok?
Nothing at all yet. Right now, it's just meaningless shapes on a wall.
Kurczę, fajny element, podoba mi się. Szczególnie, że wiem, że tam jest sporo poglądowych rzeczy do zrobienia. Okej, no ale tu przejrzeliśmy wszystko, co się dało. No, można by tutaj zobaczyć.
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down 𝗷𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗵𝗁. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for hep-C.
Dobre. Ej, chcę tylko poznać twoje imię, mała damo. Nie musisz być taka drażliwa. Słabe. Zacznijmy od twojej grupy krwi. Potem już pójdzie. Odpowiedz tylko na kilka pytań, dobra?
Ask away, pigman, but I don't promise to answer.
Wiesz coś o niedawnym morderstwie?
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko.
Ciągle spoglądasz w bok. Na co?
The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred, disgust, it's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That Ozon whore. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Revachol. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit Martinez.
Kto to jest?
Probably the 𝗀𝗵𝗲𝗆's rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
Okej. Kim? Nie znałem cię z tej
Good
strony.
idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to us on.
Co robisz z tą ścianą?
Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an 𝗱𝗠𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗵𝗁 visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words.
Czyli nie wiesz, co napisać? Mam o tym swoje zdanie. Chcesz je poznać?
Yeah?
Uwielbiam sztukę w miejscach publicznych. Działaj dalej, nie zwracaj na nas uwagi.
Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official 𝗬𝗓𝗵 stamp of approval.
She means the opposite. You've lessened her desire to deface the building.
Haha! Do zobaczenia, Cindy. A czekaj, a spróbujmy jeszcze inaczej.
Watch your back, ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
Dobrze. Zapiszmy.
Hello again, officers. Have you
Co
come?
robisz z tą ścianą?
I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words.
Czy nie wiesz, co napisać?
Have you ever tried your hand at graffiti-o? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mono was here.
To prawda. Zgadzam się z nią, naprawdę. Większość ludzi nie wie, co napisać.
You rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cats. And my name's not Mona, so...
She wants it to be something true and total.
Yeah? Thanks.
She means you've lessened her desire to
Mhm. Okej, czyli za bardzo nie mam się czego dowiedzieć. A, tędy wejdziemy z powrotem. Nieważne, nie chciałem. Wyjdźmy. Sorry.
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Kurde, szkoda. +2. Niemożliwe, 18, 8%. Kurde, no chciałbym, żeby się udało. No spróbujmy, no. Zróbmy save'a. Zaryzykujmy. Zobaczmy, co się stanie.
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here.
Dawaj.
Because this is no ordinary wall.
What?
It is sublime. Look at it. The shadows, the colors. All the other walls on all the other houses must make a pilgrimage in adoration of this, the uncontested pinnacle of wallcraft, color peeled from the very face of God. O Wallfather,
Wow. Kim, ja muszę pomalować tę ścianę, dodać do niej jeszcze więcej piękna.
Huh?
he sounds tired of it all. Cindy the Skull has all the necessary materials. Talk to her.
Przede wszystkim spójrz jeszcze raz na tę ścianę, Kim. Wiem, że jesteś zmęczony, ale posil się jej pięknem.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Może po raz inny, potrzebuję wziąć materiały. Kurwa, ale robimy to, lecimy to. Ale jazda.
Hello again, officers.
Cindy, potrzeba mi twój pędzel też.
What for?
Dla sztuki, rozumiesz, nie?
Well, if it's for art, but What kind of art are we talking about?
Wszystko jest smutne i gówniane. Potrzebujemy sztuki, żeby było lepiej. Daj mi ten pędzel.
Sounds like you're just about to live out your self-pity, not make a statement. I can't have shit art on my conscience.
O. Tak, zgnieść czyjeś marzenia. Mam nadzieję, że jesteś zadowolona.
There, piggy. I guess art just isn't really you. 'Cause you suck in life and in everything.
Kurwa. Kolejne głosowanie, które jest niemożliwe.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your 𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗶𝗃.
Chwila, istnieją jakieś glinotypy?
Yes. Guess what's yours?
Przepraszam, nie jestem pewien.
Yes. Sorry, cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then. Huge lack of enthusiasm going on in here.
Jakie są inne glinotypy?
Oh, you know, 𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗵𝗁, superstellar, the advanced interesting cop, liquid shadow cop. But you're too sorry to say those things. So, here we go?
Wejdź w to.
Of course you are. It's okay. See if you can get something out of this, like info. Or maybe every time you say you're sorry, you get $1,000,000. That won't happen.
Kocham po prostu. Jak ta gra wchodzi w mózg. Dobra, spróbujmy.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admit?
They do say
3 razy max. Ok? Jeszcze 2 razy.
Hello again, officers.
Jeszcze raz. Ostatni raz. Spróbujmy, no spróbujmy. Dajmy sobie szansę. Kurwa, jestem ciekaw, co on by namalował.
Hello again, officers. Have you?
They do say
Aj,
That's
szkoda.
pretty fucked up. Even for you, piggo. You're a real sad sack. You know that? Go ahead then. Art it up. Just but I'm all out of fuel oil.
Fuel? That wasn't paint. It was heavy fuel oil, marked red for use by government vehicles.
What do you think I was using? Aquarels?
You know what you should be able to find in your government-issued vehicle? Red-dyed heavy fuel oil.
Nie mogę po prostu użyć farby?
Are you kidding me? Fuel oil is so much cooler. No way you're disfiguring that beautiful wall with something as pedestrian.
Hej Kim, czy mógłbym pożyczyć trochę twojego oleju?
My fuel oil is for my kinema. Use your own fuel if you are unable to contain your artistic impulses, but please, leave my kinema out of it.
Okej. Kurde, no trzeba by znaleźć jakąś farbę, no. Aha, i my tutaj jesteśmy, dobra. Czyli my tu poszliśmy na front i teraz wyszliśmy tyłem, no okej. Znaleźć... Długopis mi przestał pisać, ale jazda. Znaleźć... Notatki robię jak coś. Znaleźć farbę. I namalować. Dobra. I ja bym chciał jeszcze znaleźć, co ja tutaj miałem na myśli. Coś jeszcze? A! Dobra, i ten, jakieś narzędzie do otwarcia drzwi, które to są zamknięte na kłódkę. Okej.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good morning, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
Mor, co to jest? Uściśnij jej dłoń.
I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
Jest pani na łodzi.
Why, yes I am.
Ma jakąś nazwę?
The boat? No. It is called 𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗃𝗃 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
The word it feels strange. Such a beautiful boat deserves a proper name.
Czadowo, ale pani łódź naprawdę potrzebuje nazwy.
Okay. How about 𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗃𝗃 19? Why? Because it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called 𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗃𝗃, and its hull is 19 paces long.
Może smukła ryba? Może coś coś? Można nazwać ją Dolores.
Why Dolores?
Nie wiem, brzmi ładnie.
Well, it means nothing to me. I think I'll... Okay, because
Dobra.
it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗃𝗃, and its hull is 19 paces long.
Może jakieś... Może smukła ryba.
What?
No bo jest smukła jak ryba.
I think I'll stick with the factory name. Okay, because it was manufactured...
Może
in Revachol East by a
coś?
company called The X something. The
Ek-
X what?
Eksperyment. Eks-żona.
Thank you for the suggestion. I see the word has emotional resonance for you. For me, sadly, none. So, okay, because it was manufactured... The
X-
something.
Eksperyment.
Oh, I do like the sound of that. It sounds so decisive, so powerful.
Ale jaki to rodzaj łodzi?
It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing, though these days I mainly use it for business.
Okej. Lubi ją pani?
My sloop, I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
Ile ludzi przejeżdża na łodziach, co?
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Teraz jesteśmy na archipelagu? Jak to na archipelagu?
I mean, we are on 𝗀𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃, are we not?
A jednak nie widziałem, żeby ktokolwiek inny żeglował na taką łodzią.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up 𝗬𝗶𝗃𝗃 motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
Tak, muszę.
You have the guns and the ammo. Take this 𝗀𝗏𝗵𝗃𝗃 down.
Rozmawiajmy o ekonomicznych aspektach tej łodzi, na której pani jest.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Nie, to symbol naszego poddaństwa.
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator.
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A? 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
Dobra. Ajajaj, no nie rób mi tego, gro. Goddammit, już prawie mieliśmy. Kurde.
Morning off. Joyce Beaton, my maiden name. Beaton, my maiden name. I'm glad I was just...
That is good to hear.
There's a train.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation.
Jest pani na łodzi. Ma jakąś nazwę?
The word it feels strange.
Okay, because it was I do powerful. It's a okay, because it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called what? I think I'll stick with the factory name. My sloop.
I'm enjoying this.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks.
Niewielu.
Of course there are. I mean, we are on 𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏, are we not? I haven't.
Actually, it's for cross.
Neither is this.
You need to make... You have the guns and the ammo.
Oh my, the E word.
Detective,
Then what does 33A?
Dawaj!
Proletarian.
Bam! Kurde, dobra, ostatni raz. No! Goddammit, 42%, daj mi to! Gro, rozjebmy ją.
Good morning. Joyce Beaton, my maiden name.
Napsis flesh.
Kurwa, udało się, nice! Zabawne, bo nie widzę żadnych innych chudych ryb w okolicy.
You mean eel's hips. But point taken. I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my fast, light, interminably bourgeois boat.
There is no shame in her voice. A touch of sadness, yes, but no shame.
Okej.
Good.
Dziękuję.
Of course.
Dobra, możemy zrobić zapis, bo udało się coś osiągnąć. Nie wiem, czy potrzebnie zupełnie, ale jakiś exp tam wpadł.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Czym się zajmujecie?
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
No dobrze.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
W takim razie czym się zajmują?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Jakie są inne? Indoszczepy?
𝗬𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗧, an unknown entity known as brightest star.
Wygląda na to, że mam pani dobrą
Why,
kompanię.
thank you.
Ile pieniędzy ma 𝗬𝗵𝗲𝗰𝗃𝗀𝗃?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
A billion?
Co to właściwie jest miliard? I to tyle? Myślałem, że 𝗬𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃 to jakaś... Okej. To jakaś poważna sprawa.
And to think, there are years when the group books losses in the billions. 𝗬𝗚𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 employs 72,000 people, all of whom have families that depend on their salaries. It is a tremendous responsibility.
Skąd 𝗬𝗚𝗃𝗃𝗃 bierze te wszystkie miliardy?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samarran and Insulindian Aesolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted 𝗀𝗵𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃 on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
Rozpoczęcie królewskiego monopolu zapewne pomogło.
You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, 𝗬𝗚𝗃𝗃𝗃s had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
Czego taki potężny system szuka w miejscu takim jak to?
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
To nie wy go transportujecie, tylko robotnicy. Bez nich firma jest niczym.
We built this district.
There it is. She owns up to it.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions, the plazas Messier and Mosaic, even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Może mi pani powiedzieć o tym strajku. Wait, dobra, róbmy save, bo podoba mi się ten przekrój, nie chciałbym go ponawiać. No, kontynuujmy.
You're back. Good.
Co może pani powiedzieć o tym strajku?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Chwila, jeśli chcę posłuchać o tych tajemnicach handlowych?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Elements that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
Wolałbym nie burzyć spokoju ośmiornicy. Zostawmy to w spokoju.
To repeal the act would mean repealing the coalition government, the one that leases you the right to police West Revachol.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
Daj temu spokój.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
Jaką dokładnie gra w tym pani rolę?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to 𝗬𝗚𝗃𝗃𝗃s and return with 𝗬𝗚𝗃𝗃's counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Proszę nam powiedzieć więcej o tym behemocie.
What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now.
Jak przegały rozmowy, zanim doszło do linczu?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
A co się stało z tym Germent?
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Bardzo to niefajne.
Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Sounds like usual aggressive posturing.
Jakie są ich żądania?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Podoba mi
Then
się.
you might also like their other slogan. Demand democracy.
O, to niezłe.
Personally, I don't think it has the same pizzazzo as every worker, a member of the board.
Ale co dokładnie przez to rozumieją? Jakie są ich żądania?
It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what, about anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
Wow. To byłby sukces, naprawdę.
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
Umarł król, niech żyją robotnicy.
That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but as negotiations go, it's not a swell start.
Co może pani zrobić?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
Proszę powiedzieć mi o tym szefie związku, panu Clare.
𝗱𝗏𝗪 is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Wow. To rewelacja w takim razie. Naprawdę?
Of course not. 𝗱𝗏𝗪 is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Jest aż tak straszny?
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
O, jest ich dwóch.
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like 𝗱𝗏𝗪 does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over.
O, wymieniają się chłopaczki.
It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
A co pani sądzi o samym związku, pomijając braci Clare?
The 𝗱𝗏𝗪 Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The 𝗍𝗶𝗹𝗃 are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened 𝗍𝗏 and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the 𝗍𝗶𝗹𝗃's union is...
Skuteczne narzędzie walki o prawa miejscowych robotników.
Why do you think so?
To wszystko dobrzy robotnicy, nie można ich winić za odrobinę korupcji.
Ha! A real man of the left. What else can I tell you about?
Jeszcze jedno. Powiedziała pani, że coś się wydarzyło podczas wyborów.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared.
O,
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her
Zdarza
daughter
się.
phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever.
Piorne.
Quite haunting, if you ask me. The 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏s suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
To wszystko, czego potrzebujemy. Zmieńmy temat.
Of course. How else can I help?
Co może mi pani powiedzieć o tym linczu?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant 𝗀𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗵𝗏 from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, detective?
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Tak.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
Nie zrobiłem save'a, fuck. Ale będzie lipa. Równie dobrze mogłem ją zjeść. Nie pamiętam niczego. Tego świata, tego miejsca, niczego.
Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Spróbujmy?
Of course, the situation is extreme.
Dobra, zróbmy zapis. I spróbujmy.
Hey, psst.
Że ja?
Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again.
Znowu?
Yes, you're ready to start building communism again. You've built it before. They've built it before. Hasn't really worked out yet. But neither has love. Should we just stop building love, too?
Tak, powinniśmy przestać budować miłość.
This conversation isn't really about love. Try to keep up, okay?
Jakim cudem ulica gada?
You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 rial in their pocket, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs.
Nic takiego nie mówiłem.
Okay, not in so many words, but don't deny it. You're about to rip off that mask of social democracy and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that will devour and masticate mankind. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it?
Zakazaj rękawie zaczęli budować komunizm. To zbyt męczące, nie mam sprawiedliwości, który jest zmęczony, zniszczony.
Very well. I guess no one will build communism then. Tell the working man it's over, unless anyone has objections. No objections. It's mathematically impossible to achieve a classless society. Everyone knows this. Anyone? Anyone? There's one.
Co powinienem
You
zrobić?
should build communism. Precisely because it's impossible.
Nie, zamknijcie się. Chcę leżeć bezwładnie i dać się wnieść porądowi. Zakazać rękawy i budować komunizm!
Oh yeah. Get the firing squads and the animal wagons ready.
Zaraz, co? Plutono egzekucji nie było o tym mowy.
Too late to back out now. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few million eggs.
Przepiękne. Zakończ myśl. Ja pierdolę, ale była akcja, ty. Tą myślą. Beka, dobra, no jakby, co ja mogę wam powiedzieć? No zapisuję to, no. Dobry staw.
You're back. Good.
Jeszcze co do mojej znajki. Przekonywanie.
She's a negotiator. Just float a favor at her.
To jest jakiś inny sposób, żebyśmy mogli udowodnić naszą policyjność.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
Okej.
You're in. But expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Na przykład?
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason.
They're profiting from this trade.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones. Or you can recover your badge, though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Oczywiście.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
A jak myślałeś, że jak pójdzie?
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance and, not volunteer us to be her henchmen.
Naprawdę? Myślałem, że idzie
This
świetnie.
woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
He doesn't let it show. But there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior can cost the investigation.
Przepraszam, że postawiłem nas w takiej sytuacji. Zajmę się tym.
I'm sure you will, Detective.
Więc co proponujesz?
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching.
Okej.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Proszę mi powiedzieć o tym rzekomym przemycie narkotyków.
It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the 𝗬𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗁 into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and 𝗬𝗥𝗣𝗵𝗵𝗃, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff.
I chce pani, żebyśmy to sprawdzili.
Yes, but you won't get anything out of 𝗱𝗏𝗏 and the Dock Workers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Ciężarówki.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they are vulnerable.
Okej.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
To nie przypadek, że te ciężarówki tak utknęły, prawda?
No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand.
No dobrze, podjąłem decyzję co do tej operacji przemytniczej.
Yes?
Zajmiemy się tą sprawą, przesłuchamy kierowców, zobaczymy co da się zrobić. Zgódź się.
Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something.
Okej.
It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need.
Okej.
In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
Dziękuję. Ładnie. Dobrze poszło. Dobrze, ale to będzie wszystko w tym odcinku. Serdecznie dziękuję za oglądanie. Mam nadzieję, że Wam się spodobało. Do usłyszenia. Siemanko. No i cześć. Dziękuję bardzo za oglądanie mojego materiału. Mam nadzieję, że Wam się podobało. Jeżeli Wam się spodobało, pamiętajcie, żeby kliknąć kciuk w górę, zasubskrybować i kliknąć dzwoneczek. Wszystko, aby zawsze być na bieżąco. Jeżeli macie coś do napisania, napiszcie komentarz, dzięki temu będę wiedział, że jesteście, że Wam się podoba i przede wszystkim, że chcecie, żeby tych materiałów pojawiało się więcej. Dodatkowo, jeżeli chcecie się wdzięczyć za to, co robię i podoba Wam się moja praca, pamiętajcie, że możecie kliknąć w moją nazwę, wejdziecie do strony głównej mojego kanału, kliknąć opcję wesprzyj i za 2 zł, 10 albo 30 zostaniesz wspierającymi według Waszej tutaj chęci i potrzeby oddania trochę tej dobroci w moją stronę. Dziękuję bardzo za oglądanie, trzymajcie się, do usłyszenia i życzę Wam miłego. Bardzo serdecznie dziękuję wszelkim wspierającym za to, że jesteście. Dziękuję tym, którzy byliście wspierającymi i dziękuję wszystkim tym, którzy po tym właśnie filmiku zdecydowaliście się na wsparcie. Przede wszystkim to nie jest tak, że wspieracie osobę, która ma tysiące widzów. Wspieracie małą społeczność, której dzięki każdej osobie z Was, każdej złotówce, którą mi przelejecie, każdym 2 złotym, które jesteście wspierającymi ptasiakami, za każdą tą jedną osobę bardzo serdecznie dziękuję i za każdą tą złotówkę dziękuję, ponieważ dzięki temu po prostu mam chęci, mam motywację i przede wszystkim mam dodatkowe finanse, które pozwalają utrzymać ten kanał i utrzymać wszystko, co się wokół niego dzieje, włącznie z kosztami prądu, kosztami kupowania nowego sprzętu, kupowania nowych gier, i w ogóle całego czasu, które spędzam, czy to nagrywając, czy to streamując i czy to, jeżeli w przypadku wielu sytuacji rozmawiając i wspierając osoby, które w jakiś sposób czują się gorzej. Więc moja działalność jest bardzo szeroka i cieszę się, że doceniacie ją. Jeżeli ktoś z Was czuje się gorzej i chciałby ze mną porozmawiać i ma jakieś takie problemy, możecie do mnie napisać, zagadać, wszystko na Discordzie, a link do Discorda w opisie.